Okay, here's the stuff that's going to get us there. I've got a box, I've got some Stamperia paper, and I'll put up the name of the title of that paper. I've got some extra things here that'll come into play eventually. Fabric, and here is my wool mat because I'm going to do some laminating. So here's this box. It is just the perfect height and the perfect width for this mermaid journal that I want to do. The paper size is 8x8. The box is, I think it was like 8.25, and it's about a 2-inch, a little over a 2-inch spine. Perfect. Gonna make a nice thick journal. So of course I have to open up the box. Nothing ruined the spine this time. And cut off all the extra pieces so that it'll leave me with what looks like a book cover. So the cover does measure 4.5, perfect, and the length is 8, almost 8.5. And it's going to work out really great for this size paper, which is exciting when you find a box that is perfect for your project. Don't have to cut down anything, but of course you can, if you can't find the right size box. So I'm going to cut this now, since it's 4.5 on the width of the front of the cover. I'm going to cut this paper. It's always kind of scary when you make that first cut into, the designer paper, but that's the thrill of the chase, I guess. And so that will work on the front and the back. And now I need something to fill in the middle. So back to the Stamperia paper. Now this one I like a lot because it says the Mermaid. And instead of showing you all the fiddling around I do to figure out what I'm going to put, this is what I'm putting in the middle, the Mermaid. I think it'll go really well. And again, back to the mostly straight guillotine, mini guillotine there. And I'm just now trying to figure out how much to take on each side of the strip that I just cut out, so that I still have the title, the Mermaid, for the middle. And what I forgot when I was wiggling this down is that I will have to take just a smidge more on each side after I laminate it, because of the plastic laminating on the outside edges. Now, here's the fabric that I'm going to use to cover the edges of the journal cover. And instead of covering the whole thing with fabric, I'm just going to take strips of this fabric. It's not under the water, but I felt like it would go with this theme, of under the water, because it's dark and there's plants, and it's only going to be a little bit of the fabric that will show through. So I'm taking 2 inches there and ripping the strip, and this is what will go around the edge of the cover. And I will pin this onto the cover, and I'm going to sew it on the sewing machine. But right now I'm just seeing if I have enough to go around. And I don't, so I have to take some more fabric. It was just enough, to get around there, but not enough to make a mitered corner. So I had to add some more fabric. I'm out of masking tape at the moment, but I've got all these, all these, um, I've got all this eBay tape donated from a family member who used to have an eBay shop. So since this is all going to be covered up anyway, I want to reinforce the edges, or the, where the journal's going to open and close a lot. I don't want those box edges, box hinges to fall apart. So I'm just using the tape here, trying not to pull it too tight so it warps the box or anything. Just to make sure that the mechanism, gosh, I can't think of the word, but you can see there what I'm talking about. Just so that it's reinforced and keeps it together, because I do want to make this as sturdy as possible. I'm taking some Fabri-Tac here because I'm going to cover now the taped area with some cut down strips of the fabric. That'll also help to reinforce the sturdiness that I'm trying to achieve. So I'll do this on all 4 sections. Front, 2 in the front, 2 on the underside. For the middle section where the signatures are going to go, I've got these two strips that are kind of wonky, and I'm going to zigzag those 2 together and glue them into the middle of the signature here on the journal. Moving on, I've got this Starbucks bag with the little, well, I don't know, I call her the Mermaid, but I don't know, she might be called something else. Siren? I don't know. Anyway, I want to make something to fill up the sides on the inside in like a pocket or some sort of situation to incorporate this bag. So the width of the bag is 8 inches. How perfect is that? The width is 8, so now all I have to do is find the middle, which, boom, easy. And I'm going to make a straight line and use my scissors now just to cut through both the front and the back of the bag. Okay, and have the handles now to deal with, and I don't want to rip the fronts of the bag. I don't want to mess up that image and all. So I'm going to first just cut off the handles and then gently pull the inside where the handles are glued in out of the bag. So now I want to give some space at the top for a top side pocket. And I'm cutting off the gusset of the bag, and now, I could either leave it like this and it would open up, but I decided to make it into a side tuck pocket. And that's what you see here. I've got my little bit of fabric to cover the pocket area, and now I'm just gonna, figure it out as I go along. Yeah, so back to the paper. I'm going to cover the brown inside of the bag with the Stamperia paper. So again, with the guillotine, it just helps me make a straighter cut than me with the scissors. So I'm just figuring out how much I need for that area where you see the fabric strip. That's going to be the pocket. So it doesn't have to go all the way down into that pocket. It just a little bit past the strip. So it makes the illusion like it goes all the way down into the pocket. And I'm going to glue the, what is that on the sides called? Where the bag expands, I'm just going to glue that shut. And I don't want any warping of the paper with wet glue, so I'm going to use double-sided tape whenever I can. And now I'm just figuring out how much to cut off and all that kind of good stuff. And then I'll put since I only have this 1/4 inch double-sided tape, it takes a while to tape it down, so I'm just going to fast forward to where I actually place it into the brown paper. I'm taking the other side of that paper, and I inked the edges, but eventually I decided to put fabric strips all the way around this pocket enclosure, so that really wasn't necessary. And on the back page, or the back side of the journal cover, I'm going to use this port window vignette. At the bottom there's a lantern and a journal and some jugs, and it's just really unique, and I wanted to feature it. And if you're watching on TV and you have your phone out, you can scan that QR code and subscribe, and I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Taking a little bead of Fabri-Tac just to hold that fabric down. I'm not going to fold the fabric equally in half, but I don't want it to wiggle around when I take it to the sewing machine, because it is not folded equally in half, if that makes sense. So the Fabri-Tac will hold it. I'll let it dry, and then I will sew everything down on the sewing machine. Okay, 24 hours later, I've got everything sewn around the edges. Here are my little, what do we call these? Packets, pocket packets. And I glued them down on 3 sides and left the top side open so that things can be stored in there. And now I'm going to show you how I laminate. This is what I'm calling single side laminating. You know, because it is single side, but to get just the front part of the paper laminated, it has to have an identical match on the other side so that these things can be cut open. I think the first time I ever saw this happen, I believe it was Lollipalooza, so I'm going to give her credit. And I will link her channel below. So this is my second time using my new laminator, and it works pretty good. Hey, at least it came on. I had ordered a different one from Amazon, and that thing never turned on. So at least this one turned on. I got this one from Walmart, and I'm just now using it. Okay, so you just feed it through, and I'm still trying to figure out how to close that hatch. My old laminator was so much easier. So now you can see, well, it looks like they're laminated together, which they are. So I take my and of course the name escapes me, but it's a blade, cuts straight and cuts through. So you can see now it opens up. And I'm just cutting right at the edge of each section here so that it will separate, and there it goes. So now only the front side of the paper is laminated, which is what I want, because I'm going to glue that to some sturdier cardboard, and then glue the cardboard to the front of the journal and also on the spine. And this is the spine section. And I'm just trimming away all that extra plastic. And there we go. And so that will be on the spine. And I did, like I said before, I did trim down the paper before I laminated it, just so that it wouldn't hang over on the spine, just in case. So here is our friendly chip box. And the cardboard is just the perfect width. It's not too thick, it's not too thin. I've already strengthened the journal cover just by gluing in the paper bags on the inside, but this will continue now to give it strength, especially in the spine area where their signatures will go. I've got some of this iridescent, is it iridescent? Sequins, I guess is better. I have a different thing that's coming in that's iridescent. Anyway, this was a remnant I got from Joanne, and now when you cut it, you get all these sequins all over everywhere. sequins everywhere. I'll just cut off this little end strip there. And so what I want to do now is sew the sequins onto two of the corners of this front focal point. And so I thought I was going to sew it on the sewing machine, and then I thought, well, I don't want my needle pinging off all those little sequins. So I end up hand sewing it. I don't need as much fabric, so I'm just going to cut that down, as you see here. And then I'll use the Wonder Clips to keep it onto the edge there as I hand sew. I'm using cotton crochet thread to sew this on. Okay, now I'm going to add this iridescent ribbon that I split in half. So I'll use some on the top and some on the bottom corner.